It's that time again for the assault on your ears we call Lower Dorks, a Star Trek Lower Decks podcast. I don't know, Stavros, you just want to introduce us tonight? Since apparently you're the only one good at doing anything.
You know what, I would, but I've just finished pulling this knife out of your back and starting the theme early.
Well, tonight on our screens is episode 9 of season 3, Trusted Sources, and in our cups is the same thing that's on our screens, a backstabber.
Indeed. We are drinking a backstabber cocktail. First time I've had this. It consists of melon liqueur, Scotch whiskey, and herbal tea. And at your recommendation, I actually just took a herbal tea packet and I just dunked it in some scotch and I left it for a while. And came back and kind of mixed it in with the watermelon liqueur. And you know, you're giving me grief earlier because I didn't chill the watermelon liqueur properly, because apparently that's, you know, important to the cocktail or whatever. But you know what? This actually is a kind of tasty drink. I used a kind of a very smoky scotch, and it's, I don't know, at first I was skeptical, but kind of tasty. I'm kind of digging it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this drink. Mine, I don't think, turned out quite as well as yours. The first time I tried this was, again, with, you know, the scotch with the tea leaves, basically
right,
mixed in it and set out on a windowsill like you would make sun tea. And then...
Wow, that's dedicated.
Yeah, the guy who did it, I mean, well, he owned a bar, so, you know, he knew a thing or two. Well, you'd hope, anyways.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But anyway, so he would take the scotch that he's, you know, left the tea leaves in, and he would then pour that into a rocks glass, and then he would pull out a melon liqueur, which in this case he used a watermelon liqueur, which is now what I use, and,
right,
you know, poured it in. He never said there was a set amount. It was always like a single would be 2 ounces of scotch, and then you would just pour the watermelon liqueur in to taste. And then
right,
that mixing, just the act of pouring and the fact that the melon liqueur is chilled and
right,
the scotch is warmed would cause them to do their own light mixing to the point where when you drink it, it would like be these two competing flavors, which I really, really do enjoy. I personally used a lavender tea just because it's what I had on hand, and Dewar's whiskey. I'm going to say I don't recommend it with Dewar's. Dewar's is a very bland whiskey, in my opinion, which I'm sure there's people out there who will lynch me for it. But, yeah, I think next time I'll probably go with, like you said, something more of a smoky tasting flavor.
Yeah, kind of surprising how well those flavors work together. So I may make this in the future, especially now because I have the random watermelon liqueur in my alcohol closet.
It is a wonderful mix.
Well, let's talk some about the episode in which backstabbing occurs. Do you see what I did there?
I did. It's a good lead-in.
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah, now if only I could get you to appreciate me.
Don't get your hopes up. But anyway, trusted sources. When a news reporter gets posted to the Cerritos, Captain Freeman hopes it will get her pet project approved. Unfortunately, Mariner stops at nothing to give her opinion as well. And that's where the backstabbing occurs. Probably not Mariner, though. Everyone thinks it is, but it's not.
Oh, I think it's Mariner. I mean, this was an Ides of March situation. Like, we're going to get there, but Jesus, man, like... I would, you know what? To freaking Jen and Boimler and
I know what. Yeah.
Everybody.
I'm kind of upset about that.
Like, I expect this from the captain because she is not good at her job, but everybody else.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. A little sad.
Yeah,
but I guess we'll get there.
Yeah, I guess we gotta actually talk about what happens in the episode before we spoil it.
Yeah, we really should. Yes, because everyone that's listening to us has not seen the episode yet.
I just assumed they stream us as they're watching it.
Just like at the same time.
Yeah, they're watching it at like half
don't do
speed.
That.
So
that's weird, but you know, whatever floats your boat. Oh God. But let's talk about Project Swing By. So right off the bat, I have trouble understanding what Project Swing By really is. So as Captain Freeman says, the Cerritos is good at second contact, but isn't Project Swing By just like second contact, but like way later, or like third contact or something?
Well, I get the feeling that like second contact is like just this haphazard thing. Like, because if you think about it, that is supposedly the Cerritos' like prime mission, but they've done it almost never. And even then, it feels like it's like an offhanded, just you were in the neighborhood, might as well check on the neighbors, you know? definitely hasn't been the prime mission, whereas I think this is supposed to be like an organized, hey, these are the planets that have been visited, somebody has to go visit them. Like, that was the feeling I'm getting. Like, it's an actual program as opposed to an afterthought.
So it's like X years later, you finally get sent on a swing-by mission?
You know what? I think it would probably be a lot sooner. I just feel like there's a lot of dead worlds out there left in the wake of the cruise, of the main Star Trek cruise.
You know what? That's funny because I wanted to talk about that next. So, they get sent to the planets. Let's see, Omara and Brekka. You may recall the drug
dealer planets.
Yeah, from TNG's episode Symbiosis in season 1. What I love about that episode is, that, of course, there are drugs. But if you recall, do you remember they have like little zappy fingers and they like attack people with their little zappy fingers?
I do not remember zappy fingers. It's probably one of the many things from TNG I blocked out. Like, most of season 1.
Early TNG.
Yeah.
That's funny. But, it's watching TNG in particular. I'm sure you've heard of the term pigeon management, or seagull management rather, where the manager kind of flies in and poops out over everything and like yells at everyone and then leaves. I feel like TNG exemplifies the seagull diplomacy, where Picard pops in and like totally destroys systems of government and then pats himself on the back and calls it a day, and like the last shot is the Enterprise leaving orbit, and then that's it. That's literally what happened.
I have literally never heard that term before. Very familiar with the style of leadership, but
now you know.
Yeah, apparently that's a thing. Yeah, but I love that is like so common in Star Trek. Like, especially TNG was the worst about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not even until you get to like DS9 where it's all like they show up, completely disrupt the local society, and then like the society collapses before they leave. And you get that, famous shot of O'Brien and Bashir walking away from the dead planet. It's just like, I feel like that had to have happened, but Picard never saw it. He was always gone.
No.
I feel like there's probably a scene where they're like going into a briefing, and Data's all like, and an update from the planet Klaxicon 27A, and Crusher's just like, no, Data, no, he doesn't need to know.
No. It plays the happy music, and it says executive producer Gene Roddenberry as the Enterprise leaves orbit, and it's happy music. That must mean everything's fine.
Yeah, but it's like, it's the same thing. Like, it's the whole Avatar problem. Like, after the credits roll in that movie Avatar, the humans just show up and nuke the Pandora. And that had to happen. Like, the original episode. Like, regardless of how they portrayed here, in the original TNG episode, you have 2 planets that are screwed. The one's main source of income has been destroyed, and the other is about to go through a killer withdrawal cycle.
Withdrawal.
Yeah.
10 to 14 years? Jesus Christ.
I don't, like, Jesus, people, get Space AA. 10 to 14 years for recovery?
That is pretty bad.
But, like, I don't care what happens. There's no way, even if you shut off communications, there is no way that the follow-up to that episode is not a brutal war between those 2 planets.
No. They didn't really have a navy. Neither of them really had a space navy, I think.
No, but they had travel, right? They had space travel because they were trading with each other.
Right.
And the next shipments, it doesn't matter whether they're grain or medical supplies or trinkets, the next shipments are going to be people with guns.
That absolutely. Yeah, I love how those guys were like, we work out to quiet the voices in our heads.
That's a little dark.
I was like, oh no. Yeah, it's super.
Because what is this? Dark. This is 17 years later, right? And you guys are still having problems with withdrawal? What were you on? Jesus!
That plant was really strong, I guess.
Apparently.
Generation later.
But that's why they need this Project Swing By, because 17 years is a long time to go between completely screwing over an alien culture.
That's funny. I love how Freeman calls Admiral Buenamigo, and he just suggests that, maybe it's secretly run by kids or run by someone pretending to be the devil, which are direct references to original series and TNG episodes.
Not strong episodes either. Actually, I vaguely remember it was the Children Shall Lead, right? Or a Child Shall Lead. And the Children Shall Lead.
Yeah.
In TOS. I remember that one not being too bad. But it probably was. I only saw TOS late at night in my preteen years. So, probably misremembering.
I thought it was amazing. You're like, yeah, the kids run that planet.
But was it a reference to that, or was it a reference to Baylock from the First Federation?
Oh, that could also be it.
I don't think it is. It doesn't make any sense. I'm just trying to make tenuous connections like a proper YouTuber.
Great work.
Oh, man.
Mash that subscribe button.
Yeah. We should just stop posting these to YouTube. Only like 2 people watch them.
That's true. The funny part is that someone I forget if it's the Admiral. She goes, just go back to Beta 3 and Landru. And I was thinking, that is actually a very good idea. They literally just did that. That'd be a great project, Swing by Planet, where the Starfleet has to step in and fix.
The next time they go back there, it's going to be taken over by a robot again.
Oh, yeah. They're just going to break Landru out.
Ooh, yeah.
Peanut Hamper and
Agamus.
What's his face?
Yeah, Agamus. Yeah. But we'll get to that later, right?
Yes, indeed. Then they get sent to Brekka, the planet that sells them the drugs. And I love how they land, and Captain Freeman's like, phasers out. And then they're like, okay, and they all drop their weapons. And then they immediately split the party 4 ways.
Yeah.
Which, playing D&D, you never freaking do that, man.
I love that, did they not do any scans when they first got here? Did they just, show up and immediately beam down?
I think someone was scanning, but it did nothing.
Apparently Breen don't show up on sensors or something.
Apparently not.
Neither do, was this Breckens? Are they Breckens?
Breckians?
Breckans?
Breckanians?
Breckians? Breckensi Deutschens? Wait, no.
But speaking of the Breen, is this the first time we've seen them in canon since DS9 in the timeline? I think so, right? They're just out there causing trouble?
Could be. I think, though, at the end of the Dominion War, didn't they get sanctioned pretty heavily?
Seems like it.
Yeah.
But they're still out here causing trouble and raiding planets for some reason.
Maybe they're ready to raise hell. I don't know.
They're all upset and they're just taking over random unaffiliated planets.
But I do love during the battle when they're getting ready to fight the Breen, and Shax is all like, "The Breen don't take prisoners," and it's all nearly every episode they are in, they have taken prisoners. Don't tell me they don't take prisoners.
That was amazing.
It's their modus operandi.
Yeah.
I think even in the first mention of the Breen in TNG, they are referenced as taking
prisoners.
Yeah, or slaving or something.
That's pretty good. It's during the space battle. Some cool things about that. We got to see Breen ships, which was great.
Yeah, are they the right scale though?
Good question. I can't remember how. Were they supposed to be larger? Did you feel like they were too small in the episode?
I feel like they were this. Yeah, I felt like they were too small.
A little small.
But I'm I seem to recall them being roughly the same size as the Gallors.
Right. Gallers.
I don't know.
Gallors.
Something like that.
Right.
In the Cardassian ships, that they were roughly the same size. But I always kind of forget how much smaller those were than the Enterprise. So, I tend to see the Breen ships, on par with the Enterprise. But no, they are actually quite a bit smaller. And then I also tend to forget just how big the Cerritos is. I always view it as this little tiny ship, despite all its windows.
The saucer's big, though. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's actually...
the saucer's pretty big.
Yeah, it's a pretty big ship. So, I'm thinking they may be closer than I'm giving them credit for. But I don't remember them maneuvering like that. That's for sure.
Yeah. And they brought back the little energy dampening weapons.
Yeah, although it kind of disappointed me how effective they were. They had solved this problem. God dang it!
I know, really.
Maybe they were just we don't need to upgrade the California class. They're never going to see combat.
Nope, never. I love how Captain Freeman orders a full spread of torpedoes. Did you notice that I think this is the first time we've seen the torpedo launchers on the Cerritos. They've got these dual mounted torpedo launchers.
Yeah, and I think we had always kind of assumed that's what those were, but we just didn't know for sure.
Yeah, we've never seen it.
Yeah, but I feel like they fired torpedoes before, but I'm not sure if we've seen them coming out of these torpedo launchers.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But yeah, really solid space battle scene. Yeah. Really enjoyed it.
Did you notice the Breen take out all of the torpedoes and Shax goes, "They covered the spread."
Yes. Oh my god.
Isn't that a betting term?
This episode is just full of great one-liners. I know it's a common trope in this series, but man, this episode just takes it up a notch.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then, of course, we get the ship flying in to save the day trope returning once again with the Texas class.
Yes!
Admiral Buenamigo's pet project.
They were really leaning in hard in the merchandising of this episode, weren't they? Like, that's their primary goal. They got to, like, episode 9, and they're like, oh, shit, we're way behind our merchandising quarters. Quick, throw in a bunch of new ships!
Eagle Moss will pay us. Oh, darn. Awkward. No more Eagle Moss. But yeah, new ship. Everyone loves new ships. I mean, it's hard to go wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to have a great Ships of Season 3
But you know what? Yeah, we'll talk about it at some point. I kind of like the design of this, but it does have some problems. But my real problem is, why is it the Texas? If it's an unmanned ship, shouldn't it be something like the Wyoming or something?
Or like no one lives there?
Yeah, or like Alaska.
You know, it is a powerhouse. It's like taking out these Breen ships with one shot, except for the ramming ship at the end, where it has to shoot a lot for some reason.
And Texas, famous for getting taken out in one shot. It makes sense now. Role reversal.
Totally.
And now we lose a quarter of our listeners. Sads. The real question, though, is it's an automated ship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't they already learn about this back in the Ultimate Computer with their, what was it, multivac?
Yes. In fact, did you see in the HUD that was highlighting the ship, there was a graphic that is very reminiscent of the M5.
Yeah.
So
I guess we're just hoping that Daystrom wasn't involved this time. I think the only time we've ever seen Daystrom do anything, he cocks it up.
He just has the institute named after
apparently
him now,
he got one thing right, and it was an institute. I made this
and he probably didn't even built it.
Full of labs, and that's my claim to fame. Don't look at anything else I've done.
So do you think Buenamigo is a badmiral? He was using this to, he knew about the invasion, and he's using this to show off his pet project instead of the
You're asking me if I think he's a Malamigo? Huh?
Exactly.
No.
A badmiral Malamigo.
I think this is a total misdirect. I think that he was trying to save Carol's butt, and so he decided to roll out this program prematurely, and that is what
I'm a little worried. He was very close. I mean, that battle lasted like under a minute, and...
Yeah, but I mean, come on. How big is Federation space? They went back to Earth from DS9 on the far-flung frontiers, like every season, you know?
That's true. It's as big as you want it to be.
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm a little worried. I have to watch this Buenamigo guy. His name is too convenient.
Yes. The real thing, though, is... So now we have automated robot ships. We have, Cyborg, Rutherford. It's hard not to draw the conclusion that they're related somehow. But there's no way... Because that was my first thought in, the episode where they showed Boimler's implant getting installed in his background. My first thought was, that's going to turn out to either be Buenamigo or Admiral Freeman. But he didn't really fit their body types at all, so I'm still holding out that it's going to be unrelated and this is all just a misdirect. Or maybe it's just another episodic episode in my comedy cartoon show without any real meaning or interconnectedness.
How dare you? I'm holding out for the whole AI taking over the galaxy with the use of their Texas-class computer ships. So it's going to be Peanut Hamper and Agamus.
I feel like we don't need to redo Discovery Season 2.
I think you're right about that.
We've already got, hints of Section 31, and now we got robot ships, and you know what? If a super alien computer shows up with a massive data core, I'm calling it quits. Sorry guys, I'm done.
That's just too much. Yeah.
And then suddenly, I guess can't do red angels. They already do that. They'll be like, I don't know what, pink angels, purple angels.
Purple angels or something.
Plaid angels. Actually, I'm okay with plaid angels. You want to do a plaid angel? Make it happen. I'll watch that.
Yeah. That's the only thing you'll watch is plaid. The angels have gone to plaid.
Oh, man. I do want to go back to one other thing you said, though. Because I'm calling bullshit on this.
Uh-oh.
And that is the ship to the rescue trope.
Yes.
We have only seen it...
They've used it a lot.
No, once before.
The Titans come in at least twice. It's been the Titans showing up. And then in the holodeck, we just saw this.
It doesn't count. It's a holodeck recreation of famous
the story inside a story
scenes.
doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count. Because it's recreating that scene from First Contact, right? It's not a real dramatic moment. And in the episode before that, when the alien ship comes to the rescue of Cerritos, it doesn't count because it's a Chekhov's gun. It's got to be a real unforeseen ship coming out of nowhere and saving them. So this is only time 2.
I don't know. You're having to do a lot of mental gymnastics to make this work.
Well, I mean, I guess if that's what you call using your brain. Me personally, I just call it having a thought, buddy.
You know what? We're just going to agree to disagree, and the internet will just have to tell you how wrong you really are.
You know what? Why don't you take this knife out my back, buddy?
I'm trying to push in a little bit for you. It has to pop out of your chest, like in like what happened to Picard when he lost his heart. Yeah, so it has to look like that.
I lost my heart long ago, my friend. Oh, nothing in there but a lump of coal.
A lump of coal?
Wait.
How are you alive? Anyway, let's move on to the one of the other plots. That's, of course, the Mariner with the reporter, that whole shebang that ends up rather dramatically. But let's talk about the reporter first. She has this pin on that is very reminiscent of the CBS logo. But the funny thing is, doing a little sleuthing online, if you look at one of the only other places where news reporters have shown up, and that is in the intro sequence to Generations, they wear pins exactly like that. So kind of just a coincidence that it looks like CBS?
No, definitely. Yeah, I think that's a coincidence. But this is definitely a callback to the reporters at the launch of the Ent-B. I mean, they've even got the hover camera things. Although I think in Generations they weren't hovering, like they were like attached to their head or their shoulder or something.
Right. But, yeah, they had little headsets.
Yeah, it's definitely a reference to that. There's no way it's not.
Yeah. So here's the thing about this reporter character. So, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of this, but they spend a lot of effort in this episode making it seem like this reporter is very on Captain Freeman's side and is taken by Mariner to, discredit, the crew, which of course turns out to be basically the complete opposite. I don't know. Is she the one doing the backstabbing? I feel like she could be the backstabber in this one.
No,
she's very
the whole thing is, she's totally playing the I'm the dumb reporter in love with the captain and her ship. All the while, digging up dirt to tell this story that she wants to tell, right?
Right.
And here's how I know, right? Because when they beam down to Onara, she mentions that she feels safe with such an amazing crew. But that was after she did all the garbage interviews that trashed on the crew that she uses in her hit.
Yes.
She hadn't met with Mariner yet. So clearly she knew what she was doing. Like, I hope we see this character again, but, like, she's out of work and discredited for running a hit piece.
Yeah.
That's the only way I ever get satisfaction from this episode.
I was kind of hoping for, like, a Mass Effect, like a Punch the Reporter type situation, but it never happened.
I will say this, though. I love the fact that when she finally does, out what she really thinks of the crew to the captain, she basically describes every episode from this series in the most absurd way possible. And you have to sit there and go, no, but it's accurate. It's definitely accurate. Yeah. That is what happened.
That was pretty funny. A lot of stuff about Q.
You know who remains cool and collected and on point the entire episode? Ransom.
You know why? Because he's too busy hitting on the reporter.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed he got
about his glutes.
Shot down. That's Steven's role, not Ransom's. Character assassination continues. But he kind of sticks up for Mariner. He's very honest and very, pro Starfleet in a great way. Like, when they first mentioned the previous visit by Picard, Ransom's all like, yeah, that's not good. And I'm like, I love that even Ransom calls out how it was a shit thing for Picard to do. Like, just more evidence that Ransom is true blue Starfleet. Ransom is the captain we need in the next Star Trek series.
Yeah, even Ransom even acknowledges that transferring Mariner to Starbase 80, a little overkill.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's like all upset at first, but he's like, "What are you doing?"
But he does his job. Just do that. So he's not quite at Picard levels of taking no one's shit yet. So he's got a ways to go. I feel like this entire series is a Captain Ransom origin story.
I feel like he'd make a good captain.
I feel like you're not on board for my Captain Ransom origin story. I will send you my fan fiction, and I think you'll change your opinion.
Oh, is it slashy or just asking?
Well, I mean, is there any other?
Good point.
Oh man, moving on.
Yeah, let's go back to I want to talk more about the red herring with the reporter. The thing is, with the writing of this episode, even Mariner's attitude is kind of all over the place. it's funny because for when the reporter first comes on board, Mariner is actually surprisingly understanding with Captain Freeman. She says, Carol's gonna Carol. We just gotta stay out of her hair. But then she gets all upset when she doesn't get let into the commander's lounge, and she goes like, she kind of storms off. She goes, I'm gonna go tell the truth, and then like proceeds to like have a calm conversation with the reporter. So it's like the episode is trying very hard to work in this red herring. A little too obvious for my taste.
Yeah, it was very obvious. Like everything, I think we all saw what was going to happen here, except the Breen. Nobody saw the Breen coming. Like the goddamn Spanish Inquisition, the Breen are. But I can't. What are we doing here?
No.
No, I mean, like, so it really does, though, like, in Mariner's arc for the season, right? She's upbeat, right. She loves being a part of the crew, but she's also able to, channel that in a good outlet. So there was no way this was going to be bad. And I even think Ransom kind of knew that Mariner couldn't have done anything that bad, right?
Yeah.
So I just
totally.
Yeah. I mean, we all knew it was coming though. But this is where we really get into my problem with this episode. First off, nobody gives Mariner the benefit of the doubt after everything they've been through. And not even her mother, who's having a fit of rage. But it lasted long enough for somebody to fly to them from Starbase 80, Mariner to pack her stuff and go meet with them. And there was never a point where Captain Freeman was all like, okay, I kind of lost my cool. I need to undo this. No. There was never a point where Ransom was able to talk sense into her. And through all of that, no one's
on her team, right?
Nobody was on her side. Well, actually, the lower deckers kind of were, right?
No, even Boimler was like,
don't really believe her. But nobody asks her, what did you say? Yeah. Nobody. They just accept that she said all the terrible things.
Yeah. And the funny part is, like you said, her arc this season has kind of been a long-term redemptive arc. And, it's so sad when she's not rewarded for actually saying the good things. And it's everyone else that are poop heads on the crew.
Yeah, it's just, what? I think that this episode, that was the true betrayal. It was the Cerritos crew. And I've mentioned how Mariner's the worst, right? I'm not a big Mariner fan, but this episode did her dirty.
Yeah. Especially Jen. I mean, Boimler I could kind of get, but Jen, they are... How... that left a bad taste in my mouth.
It doesn't surprise me. She was only dating Mariner because Mariner's the bad girl.
For the novelty.
That's how those relationships always end. They reach a point where they're like, I dated you because you were the bad boy, but I didn't expect you to actually stab someone. It's like, bitch, I've been telling you I'm going to stab someone since we met.
Well, at least Mariner does run off with someone at the end. She's quit Starfleet, and she's joined with the archaeologist from a few episodes ago, Petra Aberdeen. I love the ship, by the way. The asymmetrical ship.
It's not even that it's like asymmetrical, because that's pretty cool, except for the whole warp core or warp nacelle problem. But I like that it has a very cobbled together aesthetic, and I feel like that would be everywhere in Star Trek. Because, especially it goes back to when they first introduced the Defiant, where they're like, yeah, the ship doesn't really fly well, it's going to fly itself apart. And they're like, oh yeah, so we just, rerouted power from, this system and reinforced the, structural integrity field. They did something with the deflectors. So it's just like, oh, so now the ship flies just fine. It's like, well, if that's all it takes, I feel like you could make a
everyone would do it.
Starship out of a cardboard box and a warp nacelle.
Yeah, maybe that's basically what this ship is. By the way, if you didn't catch it, if you freeze frame at the right moment, you can tell that the name of the ship is the Free Spirit.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I didn't freeze frame at the right moment, though. My bad. Next time.
Got to work on your freeze frame skills. If there's one thing that I've got out of the show, it's freeze framing skills.
Yeah, you just got to download every episode and upload it into a video editor so you can go frame by frame. That's the only way to watch Star Trek.
That's dedication. The only way. Literally the only way. Before we get off the reporter plot, though, I've got some things to say about the delayed pie eating contest. I don't know about you.
Is this the new ballroom dancing gag? Please come back. Bring it back.
There's so many things. Why? First of all, why is Mariner covered in pie filling, in blueberry pie filling,
here's the real
question. The contest hasn't happened yet?
Well, she was practicing. How much pie filling is she covered in? It's on the walls of the transport. It's on the floor. It's everywhere. And she tracks it all the way from the turbo lift,
wherever she is,
the way back. How much of this stuff did she get covered in? I mean, she obviously wasn't eating it. What was she, bathing in it?
I don't know.
So many questions.
I have no idea. Unexplained. That's a lot of pie filling, though.
Yeah, I mean, and Rutherford, of course, doesn't respond to this well at all.
Oh, not at all. He has a pie problem, I think. I mean, he says he hasn't eaten in a while and he wants a pie. I think it extends deeper than that.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, Rutherford, you can always replicate one. But nope, he just wants to be put out.
Why does he want to get shot? He just stud
so he can stop craving the pie.
Oh, I see. It'll knock him out for a while.
Yeah.
He has a nice little like Ransom like tear his shirt open moment.
You know,
there.
This is starting to raise a question for me though. Like, I can totally see tearing the TOS shirts. Those things look pretty flimsy. But like, I guess TNG was pretty flimsy too. But like, from the movie era uniforms, the TNG movie era uniforms on, and even like the early DS9 uniforms, they felt like they were made of sturdier material. I feel like that's not happening anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyone could just tear their shirt open, I guess.
I mean, like, you get it caught on, like, a door jamb or something, and suddenly you're walking through your shift naked.
Did you notice Tendy goes, I've been practicing dislocating my jaw for pie eating. Is that a thing that happens during pie eating contests? Does people dislocate their jaws?
I don't think on Earth. So. I hope not. But maybe it's like one of those things that, like, you know, Orions can do. They can dislocate their jaw. Have we seen this in Star Trek before?
Not... I don't know if we've seen anyone purposefully dislocate jaws in Star Trek before, that I know of.
I bet it happened in Enterprise. That just feels like something that happened in that show.
Like something Phlox would do, maybe?
Well, I don't know. I don't think Phlox, but maybe we saw an Orion do it, and now they've made it a part of the canon that's just a normal thing
Perhaps.
they do. Who knows?
Yeah. But the biggest thing about the delayed pie eating contest is Boimler mentions that it's basically the biggest night of the year, not including Ponn Farr's. And this raises all kinds of questions, all right? How many Vulcans have we seen?
How many Vulcans are on board the ship? But
I don't think there are that many.
I don't think that's, reasonable, right? Unless maybe there's just like a few of them, like a handful, like 10, but it's such a huge spectacle. And, like, they always wind up fighting, for their mates that it just... oh, well,
Like, every year, though? Yeah. It's like... So they say it's an annual thing. So, I mean, if Ponn Farr is every...
only need
7
mating
years?
couples, then. 7 mating couples.
Oh, my God.
My theory...
Yes, what is yours?
Is that they have turned the Vulcan Ponn Farr into an annual holiday.
Yes! That is what I'm thinking.
It's the mating party. And just, they go full, like, crazy Vulcan behavior... and try and hook up with other members of the crew, and like they fight over. You know what? It would.
It's the Landru Red Hour or whatever.
Yeah,
just
only
get your weapons
more sexy.
Yeah, I totally agree. They've just like appropriated the Vulcan Ponn Farr, and like one day a year, this everyone just goes crazy.
I desperately want to see this, but we all remember what happened the last time we got some sexy times in this series.
I feel like that maybe that sexy time simulation was, kind of drawn out of the actual annual event. That's the blueprint for that one.
I doubt it.
Who knows?
I feel like that was a callback to the crazy space alcohol disease episodes.
Yeah, it could be
TOS and TNG that also affects robots for some reason.
Obviously, I mean, Data's basically human, right?
No, not at all. That is not how alcohol works.
No. But you know what? We do figure out how something works in this show.
We did?
This episode. And that's Starbase 80.
Oh my God.
Or how it doesn't work.
Finally. You know what? This was a reveal.
Are you surprised that they brought it back?
I'm not. I am surprised that they revealed so soon. I expected it to be more drawn out. But you know what? I love their resolution to what Starbase 80 is. It's like the backwoods Hicks of Starfleet. I mean, they show up in like
these jumpsuits, these like crazy jumpsuits, like TNG era badges. They just got like the old outdated
like TOS style colonist jumpsuits. They're in like a rundown box shuttle pod from
the Type 15s, the early TNG shuttles.
TNG shuttle pods that are just awful looking, and they're not even just that these are awful looking, but they're also absolutely filthy. I just love it. It's fantastic.
I love that when Captain Freeman calls Starbase 80,
They have a Rolodex.
the guy like pulls out the Rolodex with
Let's be honest.
isolators in it.
We all know the person we deal with that still has the
Oh, yeah.
Rolodex on their desk.
Absolutely.
And we're just
Yeah,
like,
100%.
why? I know you own a
Yeah.
cell phone. This doesn't make any sense.
I love it. I wonder if we're going to get any more looks at Starbase 80.
Dude,
it's just going to be...
If they
this
don't
is it.
revisit it, I'm going to be bummed. Like, I could care less. Every scene that features Cetacean Ops, love it.
Right.
Could care less
Yeah.
about Cetacean Ops. Starbase 80, I need it to come back.
It was so good. I love that. What else? Oh, there's a couple other like tiny little nuggets in this episode. Do you agree that Dr. Migleemo continues to be the worst?
I love that when he becomes captain, he immediately calls his mother. Was it his mother or his grandmother?
His Mima.
Yeah,
his grandmother.
I don't know. I can't translate these things, and I come from a respectable family where we refer to our betters as mother and father,
As grandma
and grandmother
of
and
course.
grandfather. But yeah, I love that he calls his grandmother.
Oh, don't call me when I'm working.
He immediately backtracks.
My God.
I wonder, do you think Troy did the same thing when she first got into command? I feel like her family line would not have responded quite as well. I think they would have cared a little less.
Yeah, I don't see Troy calling her mom about anything.
I do love the fact, though, that this is the second time we've seen a counselor in command. Actually, third time now. And I think this is the first time they haven't crashed the starship.
Oh, there is that. Nothing happens while he's in command. Although he does allow the Breen ships to sneak up on them.
Oh yeah,
so
that was pretty terrible. I feel like they probably weren't even like hiding. They just flew up and
just
somebody on the bridge was all like, "Sir," and he's all like, "I'm talking to Mima."
I think you're totally right. A couple other funny little nuggets. If you recall, the guy turning people away from the commander's lounge, that's the same dude that welcomed Tendi onto the ship, where he goes, "Keep it moving, lower decks." I think anytime that they need someone to like say lower decks in a disparaging way, they just bring this character back. I don't know if he has a name or not. It's this balding white dude with brown hair. He just goes, "Turn it around, lower decks. Keep it moving, lower decks."
Yeah.
Just this one guy.
I wonder, he's probably shown up like tons of times and we've just never noticed.
Just never seen
We
him.
just weren't nearly focused enough on it.
Yeah. And the last tiny little nugget, when they have the shot in the lower decker area, the same dude is walking around in just a towel, the very buff built dude. I can't remember if he has a name or not, but that dude never is in a uniform. He's always fresh out of Cetacean Ops or the showers.
Yeah, which, once again, sonic showers! Why does he need
Don't
a
need
towel?
to get dried. Yeah. He just wants to show off his buff bod, man. He put some work into that, and he wants to show it off.
I do want to know, is this like intentional? Is there like somebody on like the production staff that's always all like, yeah, make sure this guy's in the background whenever you show these scenes? Or is this like there's some like frustrated animator who's like, that's his avatar? And he's all like, yeah, not going to give me weekends off. I'm going to stick my guy in here.
I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards the animator, and someone's like, you know what, we need more characters in this shot, and the animator's like, okay, and they just shove Towel Man back in there.
I don't know. It is definitely a good running visual gag. I didn't even pick up that he was in there.
Yeah, it's one of those freeze frame moments, but he's definitely there.
Which one is that in? Is that in like the first one, because that was just the Warp Core 4?
It's one of the later shots.
Okay, man, now you're gonna make me rewatch the entire episode looking for it. Thanks a lot.
I mean,
I didn't have anything else to do tonight.
Not at all. Is there anything else you saw or want to mention?
Best line in the episode: camera adds 10 frowns. New favorite line.
Oh God,
you didn't like that line? Such a great.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. I saw where they were going, and I appreciated it. I didn't laugh really. I was like, that's kind of funny.
Well, fine.
Different jokes for different folks.
Yeah, I mean, some people have a sense of humor and some people don't.
Yeah, that's true. Some people laugh at weird things and some people don't.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And I think we're all in agreement on who's laughing at weird things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely in agreement. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we should go right to final thoughts. I liked this episode. It had some good jokes in it. I don't know if it's in my top episodes in this season. I liked it better than Peanut Hamper, the episode, that much is for sure. I feel like they're just going to bring Mariner back in the next episode, so I feel like there's a little, it's like a little too easy to see where things are going there. Plus, the red herring thing was so obvious, I kind of had to roll my eyes a little bit at the cartoon show.
Yeah, and that's
there.
where the real question is: was it really a red herring, or was it just like this is the plot, and we don't expect anybody to find
it's
this
not life
surprising,
changing,
you know?
Yeah. So if you're looking for a good plot, like a intrigue, then this is probably not the episode for you. But I loved this. I loved certain jokes like the pie eating contest and certain things like that. So it's got some strong pluses, but also some minuses that made me kind of roll my eyes.
I'd call it a pretty decent episode. Definitely 3 stanchions out of a funeral pyre.
Oh, is it a lit funeral pyre though? That makes a big difference.
No, just a funeral pyre.
Oh. Just a unlit funeral pyre.
Yeah.
I see.
It's not that bad. Jesus,
Gotcha.
man. Clearly, we know what you thought of the episode.
I know.
Anyways, yeah, I think that's enough of your betrayals, Stavros.
I know.
When are you going to learn
pull
to
the knife out.
To trust?
No, never.
Hopefully by next time, because then we're watching the season finale.
I'm excited.
But, until then, you can catch us on Twitter at Lower Dorks, or you can feel around your backside for a knife jammed in there by someone I thought was my friend.
Hold on, I just got to stab a couple more times before we close the episode out.